Released in 1981, 3 years after the smashing success of the original, Halloween 2 entered in hopes of capturing the same success and love that the first one grasped. But does it? Can Michael Myers claim yet another hit? Let's find out and get right on into it. Welcome back, I'm Sippin, and after witnessing the smash hit they had on their hands, they gave Halloween 2 a massive jump in budget in comparison to Michael's first outing. This time around, he had a budget of $2.5 million to work with. But as the original proved, you don't always need a massive budget to create a lasting horror movie. So, does Halloween 2 follow suit? The movie begins near where the first one ended, Loomis dumping his clip into Michael as he falls from the second story's balcony. Just like in the original, he's gone, but this time we get to see where he went. We follow a POV of Michael walking around. He sees Loomis and the sheriff patrolling, looking around for him. But he's busy going into an older couple's home. We see the Night of the Living Dead is playing on the TV, but Mrs. Elrod shouldn't be nervous as Michael just wanted her knife. The one who should be worried is her neighbor Alice, as she gets ambushed. This scene is so darn good, dude, as that entire time it was one take. Just one solid take, dude. We just followed Michael as he walked around the neighborhood as he lurked and killed. I'm a sucker for a good long one shot. Afterwards, Laurie is taken to the hospital where she will spend the rest of the movie. That's one aspect I'm not the biggest fan of. That and, well, how Laurie takes more of a backseat in this film, as she's stuck in her room for a majority of the movie. Dr. Loomis and Sheriff Brackett are still patrolling when they spot him. They see Michael Myers walking down the street, and then he gets run down by a car, finishing him off. Credits roll. No, it was Ben Tramer. What a silly scene, but it ends with them rushing to the crime scene of Annie, the sheriff's daughter from the first film. Jimmy, the ambulance guy that has a crush on Laurie, wheels Annie's body away as Loomis and a deputy head to the burned body of who they believe to be Michael. I got bad news for them, as Michael's actually busy doing another long one take. One where he bumps into the kid with a cowboy hat and boombox. The movie uses these one takes to kind of build up on its world and establish a lived-in feel. I love it, it makes the movie feel real. Not only do we have the main cast in Haddonfield, but other random people. It's subtle, but refreshing. We see us heading to the hospital in hopes of finishing off Laurie Strode. After Michael arrives in some car he stole, we cut to the rest of our main cast, employees of the hospital. In yet another long one-shot, we see Michael watching some nurses as he stalks from the baby room. Yes, I don't know the technical name for that room. It's a storage closet for babies. I don't know, man. In such a cool-ass scene, we cut to the nurses talking, and we see a faint Michael watching in that room as he turns and heads out, continuing his search. Amazing, dude. So very nice. Jimmy, again, heads to visit Laurie.
Wow, man. Damn.
Where he informs her of just who he is, or was, because he's pure evil. But he gets kicked out by Mrs. Alves, who learns the phones are down and no longer working. Thanks to Mrs. Alves, Garrett, the security guard, is outside checking the telephone pole, trying to learn what happened to their phone lines. But instead, he sees a broken padlock. He enters the room and radios back that someone broke into the storeroom, but the walkie-talkie isn't working properly. A noise startles him, and as he goes to investigate, he notices yet another broken padlock. My guy, is there a padlock in this world that's not broken? Like, come on now. He heads to another door, and you won't believe me when I tell you this, but he finds another broken padlock. This movie is a padlock's worst nightmare. And for Garrett as well, as when he shuts the door, a hidden Michael brings the hammer down, ending Garrett. The events of the first film has been playing all over the TV and radios, causing widespread panic. Loomis and the deputy arrive to the old Myers home to see a mob of people throwing rocks and yelling. As Loomis puts it, it's a wake for their fallen comrades. Back at the hospital, it's pretty darn empty at this point. Employees are breaking tons of rules and maybe a law or two by making out on hospital equipment. Meanwhile, Laurie is having a dream about her past and about her family. Those employees, Karen and Bud, take their session over to a hot tub. Hot tub? Do hospitals actually have these?
I do not know that answer right now, but I will do everything in my power to get that information for you. Please hold.
Am I just an idiot? Probably. Anyways, Michael started turning up the heat, but not in a weird way, thankfully, but by using the water controls. Bud goes to check it out since they notice it getting super hot. But Michael likes the heat, so he strangles Bud to death with a cord so he's not able to turn the temperature back down, and proceeds to grab Karen and drowns her in the boiling water. Catching up with Team Loomis, we see a school that Michael broken into, where he left a bloody word on the wall. It simply said, Sam Hain. During this, Marion Crane arrives to pick up Loomis as he was ordered back to Smith's Grove. Jimmy, Jimmy, goes to check on Laurie yet again. He notices something is wrong, so he gathers the nurses, where one nurse, Janet, heads to get Dr. Mixter. Finding him with a syringe in his eye, she backs up into Michael, who injects her face with another syringe. Since Janet nor Dr. Mixter is back, Jimmy heads off to find Mrs. Alves, leaving Laurie alone. Well, alone until Michael finds her room. He stabs her. Wait, she's gone. She knew and started taking off down the halls. Slowly, because, of all the drugs and pain she's in, but it's movement nonetheless. Jimmy runs into a nurse named Jill as she searches for the others. He tells her to go and get help. I'm sure she'll make it. As Jimmy continues to search, he finds Alves, whose blood has been drained. Jimmy turns to leave and just slips. He knocks himself out, dude. Bro, how? You had one job, Jimmy. That nurse, Jill, tried to leave, but she noticed the tires on the cars have been slashed, forcing them to stay and await for help. So she runs back into the hospital when she manages to spot Laurie. She heads over to her only to get stopped by Michael Myers as he stabs her in the back, lifting her up and off the ground. He drops her and pursues Laurie with the amazing Halloween soundtrack kicking in. Laurie manages to make it to an elevator and uses it to make it outside. She rushes to hide in a car, looking out the window, but nothing's there. It's quiet. A little too quiet. Catching up back to Loomis and Marion, she tells us the truth. At least in this timeline, because there's about 100 of them now. Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are related, brother and sister, but the court sealed the documents in hopes of keeping them hidden. After hearing this, Loomis forces the deputy to take him to the hospital, now knowing where Michael is. As Laurie hides, we hear someone approach, but it's just Jimmy. He prepares to start the car, but forgot to get his 8 hours in, so he passes out and lands on the car horn, alerting any would-be babysitter killers in the area to their whereabouts. She crawls out of the car and sees Loomis and the team arrive. She calls out for help, but to no avail. Laurie manages to get to her feet just in time as Michael comes around the corner. In a scene mimicking the original, Laurie bangs on a door, screaming for help as Michael approaches. Loomis lets her in and tells Michael, nope, you're not allowed inside, buddy. But Michael gets his feelings hurt and just busts through the door so he can eat all of Loomis's bullets.
I shot him 6 times!
Michael is not done, though. He sits up and takes out the cop and again pursues Laurie alongside Loomis. Eventually, Michael makes it to their room. He stabs Loomis to the ground as Laurie tries to reason with him, but she settles with popping him twice in the eyes. Like, both of them. Both eyes, dude. No longer able to see, he starts frantically swinging his blade as Loomis fills the room with gas. Loomis blows the room sky high, ending himself, and Mike, oh, hold up, bro, still kicking and screaming. Laurie, wait, what are you doing? Run, he's cooked. Oh, now he's cooked. Yes, I said that. The movie ends with Michael's mask burning as Mr. Sandman plays. Halloween 2 is a worthy sequel to a masterpiece of an original. While I could do without the sibling connection, I can understand why they did it at the time, as this movie was originally set up to be the end of the Michael Myers storyline. As we all know, Halloween 3 is the season of the witch and has no involvement with Michael whatsoever, which, be ready for that, as that one is next up on the chopping block. I enjoyed the hospital setting, but I could have used more of the Haddonfield setting. We only had the brief bit from the beginning. One flaw for the movie was the lack of Laurie's involvement. She wasn't utilized as much as I would have liked, so I would have to rate Halloween 2 a solid 7 out of 10. It's a fun ride with Michael leading the charge. What's your thoughts on Halloween 2? Let me know your thoughts down below. Stay chill, and I will see you next time.